How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a bit of news. First of all, a little update from me. Now, yesterday I was supposed to be streaming. I had a lot of bad news yesterday from my family GP passing away, my aunt being on death's door, and a few other bits of news that basically piled on to just basically put me into a really shit place, and I didn't really want to stream yesterday with that mindset because I just wouldn't enjoy it. So I'm really sorry for missing yesterday. There were reasons. I'm feeling a lot better today mentally anyway. I've processed a lot of things. So we're definitely going to go ahead with the stream tonight. So I do hope that we'll see a bunch of you there tonight. I'll be live 15 minutes before the event starts, and as you can see, it is the first news topic that we're starting with. We may have your attention, and it's the Xbox Partner Podcast. Not podcast, but a preview. We should be seeing some cool games here, and hopefully some new trailers and whatnot, and maybe some games that we weren't even aware of existing. So I'm very excited for this. I hope you're excited for this. And as you can see here, I'm going to have a link to this in the description below. This is my preview thumbnail kind of thing where you can go and click on the actual video. So if we click on this, you can actually click notify me, and then it will notify you 15 or 30 minutes before the event starts. So you can actually get the notification so you can turn up and not miss it. So hopefully you'll do that. Next up, we have the Game Pass coming soon. Now you can see the show, Control, No More Heroes, Paw Patrol, Battle of the Bikini Bottom, and of course Lightyear Frontier. Now this is a preview game. I've heard good things about this one. Definitely worth checking out. We may probably check this out after the actual... when is it released? It's released on the 19th of March. So I was going to say we'd check it out today, but that's not going to be possible. Now we do have like a release cadence for these. They've got the Warhammer 40,000 bolt gun, which is released today. You've got Paw Patrol on the 7th, SpongeBob on the 12th, Control Ultimate Edition, very good game if you haven't played it yet. I highly recommend it. On the 13th, No More Heroes 3 on the 14th, really good game. On the 19th, Lightyear Frontier game preview, and MLB The Show 24 with cloud and console on the 19th. Really good lineup for Game Pass. Really good month to release games. So that is a massive win in my eyes. Now we move over to Pentiment. And for the longest time, there's been this notion that the Xbox tax is not real. It's not there. Now, the difference between the Xbox Series X version and the Nintendo Switch version is nothing. The games, in fact, probably look better on the Xbox Series X. Yet, the Switch version has got a 93 and the Xbox version has an 86. This is a clear indication that unless Xbox, like Riskit says here, and we don't always agree, but unless they release undeniable bangers where the media cannot refute it in any way, shape, or form, they are not going to get those 90 scores. Because these games are identical. Like, literally identical. There is no difference in the games. If anything, the Xbox version runs better, performs better, and is also available on the cloud. So, with that in mind, there is no reason why the Xbox version should score 6 points below the Switch version. This here clearly shows the media bias that is around Xbox. If there was any doubt, if there was ever a doubt, this is it. This is it. Now, there is a rumor going around that PlayStation is currently working on a PC store. Whether this means that they're going to pull their games from Steam, which I highly doubt, or actually do some kind of exclusivity with their store, which is what I was saying Game Pass should have done. You know, put their games on the PlayStation Store for 6 months to a year, keep it there, and then push it out to Steam. I think that's probably what they're going to do to try and maintain 100% of the profits and keep people within the PlayStation ecosystem. Now, there is also the talk of basically, let me play this because I like it. But there is also the talk that if you buy it on the PlayStation Store, there'll be cross-entitlement with the PS5 as well. If that is true, that is going to be really, really cool and really pro-consumer, and it basically starts to kind of follow the path that Xbox has set out. Now, we do say a lot of times that PlayStation follows Xbox, but on this occasion, what Xbox has done has been really pro-consumer, and something that, we want to see other publishers like Sony do. But if this does become a reality, which in all fairness, it is starting to be, the rumors and the talks and the showings are starting to push more and more towards that. We could be seeing this come as early as June, July, when the reveal or release date for Ghost of Tsushima is actually dropped on us. Now, I'm going to be covering that in a little bit, because Ghost of Tsushima is really important to this store, and I think that could actually be the day this store is released, but time will tell. But I think this is a really good move from Sony. I think this is really good pro-consumer, and depending on how they handle it, I think it could be really successful. If they release it day and date on Steam, then games just will not, gamers won't go to PlayStation launcher. It's that simple. The PC users just won't do it. They like their monopoly. They like feeding a monopoly. That is where they want to game and create a monopoly without Gabe having to do anything. But if they do delay it by 6 months to a year, I fully support that decision from a console manufacturer perspective, and I'm happy for them, because they are doing something Microsoft clearly didn't have the balls to do. And that will help them not only shift more copies on their platform, but at the same time help them enter the PC market, the PC market, while maintaining 100% of the profits and not giving 30% to Steam or any other platform that requires it. Now, we do have the Horizon Forbidden West required specs for PC, and they're lower than Came had actually assumed, and honestly, pretty much. So this is the low. This is not the low. This is the minimum. So you got very low, 720p, 30 FPS, and those specs are really low. So pretty much anyone can play at this spec. At medium, you're still looking at fairly, low end, but this is the recommended. 3060, I think, is the average of what's there on most PCs right now. My kid has the 2080 Super, but I think that's almost in line with the 3060, or if not slightly better. For high, you're looking at 1440p with an i7, 3070. I mean, the biggest issue here is that SSD space is eye-watering at 150 gigabytes, but it is what it is. But for very high, the maximum settings to play at 4K 60, I don't have a 4K monitor, so this part here doesn't bother me. I'll be playing it on this over here, the 1440p 60 FPS, or maybe higher, because having that lower res on my PC, on my monitor, allows me to do that. So I can have basically everything set to very high, slightly lower res. I've got a 12.9 CPU. This is requesting 11.7. This is requesting graphics card of a 4080. I've got a 3090 Ti, so it should be on par. But if this ever went to something like GeForce Now, which it probably won't, but if it did, this would be the setting that you would actually be playing on if you were subscribed to the premium setting. Really cool stuff. But to me, none of this is really outside of the reach. I'm going to be very interested to see how this runs. I'm going to be doing if I can get a hold of the copy through Sony, they're generally really nice with me, so hopefully they will be kind enough to provide me with a review copy. I have reached out. I want to start doing Steam Deck ports and Steam Deck port reviews. Not so much PC, but just, how these run on Steam Deck. Because I know a lot of people have these hardwares, and I do want to get the Asus ROG Ally as well, so I can kind of do a settings review on that as well. But I'll have to invest in that at a later date. So for now, we'll see how the Steam Deck ports go, and we can see what's the best settings to get, what's the highest frame rate we can go with, the best possible fidelity without sacrificing too much. If you're interested in that sort of thing, let me know in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. And this is where my whole talk about the store comes in, because it looks like Ghost of Tsushima is coming May, June. Or it's going to be announced in May, June, and maybe land a couple months later, or maybe even shadow dropped the same day onto PC. We don't know. It's a rumor at the moment, but I think it would be a power play for Sony to drop the launcher with Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games of all time. It is amazing. Seriously, if you have a PlayStation, get it. If you don't have a PlayStation and you're waiting for the PC port, don't skip on this game. It is that good. It's really, really good. Helldivers is the next one. Now, I've got mixed feelings for this, mainly because I don't have 4 people to play with, or 3 other people to play with, and I'm clearly not getting the true experience of this. Solo, this game absolutely sucks balls. But multiplayer is where it's at, and the brief time I've had with multiplayer, it's been fun. Very limited, very mid, but it's the exposure and the shenanigans that happen that make it fun. It's the situations that the game forces you into. So not so much the game, but the culture around the game. But either way, I digress. The XO45 Patriot exosuits are in full production in the factories of Tianquan, ready for deployment on the battlefield soon. That looks really awesome. You'll be able to maybe get in those and ride them around. We know that vehicles are coming as well. So they are clearly pushing ahead with this and trying to make this as successful as humanly possible. Good on them. Very good on them. And I hope nothing more than future successes for the developers, because they deserve it. Now, there is one more piece of news, and I want to cover that as well, and that's this over here. Arrowhead has been acquired by Sony, says new rumors, announcement supposedly coming soon. And Guns Games, did they promise you no layoffs too at Palstead? That's the CEO of the company. He said this is fake, unless I've missed something, as the CEO. Also, a really shitty old logo from 2008 or so, when we just started the studio. So clearly, PlayStation fanboys are now spreading fake rumors around buying studios, because that's how desperate they've become. And of course, Icon Era has decided that, using the notable and notorious insider Japan hates Xbox wasn't enough. Now they're going to go and start posting fake news, because Icon Era just can't report on anything that is real. I mean, I like to call them now the clown era, because that is pretty much what they've become. They're a laughing stock to everyone. And I really do have to question, have they actually got anything right ever? Now, Dragon's Dogma is a game a lot of people are looking forward to. And a lot of you that laughed at Starfield for their 30 FPS, and I'm not going to play this because it's 30 FPS. Oh, look at Xbox with that 30 FPS. Losers. And now, you're seeing Dragon's Dogma 2 getting uncapped frame rate performance around 30 FPS. So if you're lucky, you might get to 31 or 32 FPS. Are people going to have this same reaction now to Dragon's Dogma? Are you PlayStation fanboys going to boycott this game because it doesn't run above 30 and that's the only mode you're getting? No performance mode, no nothing. It's going to run uncapped frame rate at around 30 FPS. I've heard it drops down to 20 FPS, or thereabouts as well in certain scenes. So, are you going to buy it, or are you going to skip it? That's the question I want to know. Now, this one over here is, last but not least, we all know that Hogwarts Legacy was one of the most successful games of 2023. In fact, it outsold Call of Duty. Now, Hogwarts Legacy, which was available from January, so it had 12 months of sales, sold 22 million, as opposed to Call of Duty, which had, I think, 2 months of sales and hit 22 million, but I think it was like 1,000 different units. I think it's like 1,000 units difference between them. So it wasn't much, considering Call of Duty was out for 2 months, Hogwarts was for a year. So, I mean, it surpassed it now anyway, Call of Duty. But that's beside the point. The game was really successful. Sure, it had one of the most popular IPs in the world attached to it, but it was successful. But, Suicide Squad, a live service game, flopped by the same studio. And it looks like Warner Brothers has paid attention, because they're now saying that single-player games are done. They don't believe that they're successful. The fact that, Hogwarts Legacy was the most successful game of 2023 as a one-and-done game, that's not good enough for them. And now they are doubling down on live service games and moving away from one-and-done AAA. I really hope they reconsider this, because a lot of people would really love a return to, you know, the Arkham series, which were single-player 1-and-done games, and they are still played today and cherished today as great games and still selling, if maybe not in millions or troves, but they're still selling and they are still cherished as great games. Hopefully this is a decision that they turn back from. And this is the last thing I want to talk about. This is coming to Series X, PS5. Now, if you've ever played Virtua Racing back in the days of arcade or on the Sega Saturn, this is pretty much homage to that, right? This is pretty much homage to that. I think it's really cool. I'm going to be picking this up because it just reminds me of those old days of when gaming used to be in its golden years, and everything now isn't all about pixels and everything. It was all about the actual gameplay of the game. I'll have a link to this thread in the description below because it has links to the wishlist and stuff and whatnot. So hopefully you'll go check it out and give this indie dev a, you know, at least a bit of your time. And that's it, folks. Hopefully I'll see you over at the stream, and I'll see you then. Remain legend.